Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I'm going to be doing a talk about Ceres, the Great Mother. Now, she is one of the asteroids that I am learning about, and I've just included in my charts. Now, this is the actual companion that I made quite a while back. It's a digital companion. I've also got like the regular PDF package. I do sell this on my Ko-fi shop over to amethystascension.com. However, this is for people that want easy access. This is a digital. You just click on it as long as it's in link mode. You just click on where you're looking. Well, I put a spot here for blank charts, and I put my chart actually in here so that you guys could see. These are what my charts look like that I sell, although I have put a block around my actual information and birth time and all that. But the one that we're going to be talking about today is Ceres, the asteroid Ceres. And my Ceres sits in my 10th house in Pisces. However, once you know where yours sits, I'm going to be talking about Ceres, who is also known by many other people as Demeter. And in the Greek mythology study group on Facebook, we are actually learning about Demeter. And see, I just put that in there. So Demeter and Persephone. So I thought I would just start with this one and go from there, more or less. But I wanted to show that really quick. I highly recommend, if you want to deep dive into your chart and learn more, especially about, the asteroids, this is an excellent book. It is so completely thorough. It's called Asteroid Goddesses, the Mythology, Psychology, and Astrology of the Reemerging Feminine. And it's written by Demeter George and Douglas Bloch, or Bloch. I'm not sure. I think it's Bloch. So I'm not going to go over everything because this is very much in detail. I'm going to show you some of it. I'm going to read some of it to you, but I'm really going to try to focus on the main story and then what that means in your chart. So something that I'm going to try doing is doing a walkthrough of this while I'm reading parts of the book and the placements and stuff. This is the Red Seeds Tarot, which is by Linda Hill, I believe. Where's the bottom of the deck? Anyways. Yeah. It is based off of the whole Eleusinian mysteries, Persephone going into the underworld and Demeter missing her daughter and all that. So I'm going to try doing a walkthrough of this particular deck while I'm doing the reading. So we'll see how it goes. The mythology of Ceres. The Roman goddess Ceres was originally known to the ancient Greeks as Demeter. Her name was derived from the ancient form Demeter, meaning Earth Mother. In the Olympian pantheon, Ceres was the daughter of Saturn and Rhea, along with her sisters Vesta and Juno, and her brothers Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto. Ceres was swallowed by her father, freed by Jupiter after his victory over Saturn and the Titans. These deities became the ruling family of ancient Greece. As time passed, Ceres came to live not only in the heavens, but on the earth with humanity, to whom she gave two gifts, grain and the Eleusinian rites. As goddess of agriculture and the harvest, Ceres symbolized the cultivated, fertile soil that fed and provided for humanity. Hence, she was worshipped as the all-nourishing mother, crowned with a wreath composed of ears of corn and wheat, holding grain or poppies in one hand, and a lighted torch in the other. It was, however, as devoted and loving mother to the maiden core Persephone that Ceres assumed her greatest importance among the Greeks. Their story, Persephone's abduction by Pluto to the underworld, Ceres subsequent grief and suffering, and her search to become reunited with her daughter, became a major myth of the ancient world. This drama of loss and return was reenacted for close to 2,000 years, 1600 BC to 400 AD, as the initiation rites of the Eleusinian Mysteries. The pre-Hellenic origins of Ceres in mythology, or Ceres mythology. The preceding tale, derived from Homer's hymn of Demeter, written in the 7th century BC, is the most popular source of information concerning the mythos of Ceres. There is, however, additional evidence that describes Ceres/Demeter as a universal archetype of the great goddess that emerged in the nuclear area of the Near East and Egypt, and migrated to Minoan Crete and classical Greece. In the myths associated with these cultures, we find a reoccurring theme of the great fertility/mother goddess, i.e., or examples would be Sumeria's Inanna, the Semitic Ishtar, and Egypt's Isis, who enters the realm of the dead, returns to the land of the living, and is associated with a resurrected vegetation god. So the astrology of Ceres. To enter into the figure of Ceres means to be pursued, to be robbed, to be raped, to fail to understand, to rage and grieve, but then to get everything back and be born again. And symbolizing the function of mother in psychology, Ceres governs a number of psychological qualities that cannot be described by any one zodiacal sign. After spending a number of years observing how Ceres functions in the horoscope, the author has concluded that Ceres attributes are best depicted by the signs Cancer, Taurus to Scorpio, and Virgo. As ruler of Cancer, Ceres addresses the issues of how we give and receive nurturance, how we develop feelings of self-worth, how we provide for and care for others, and how we respond neurotically, if these needs are not met. As the ruler of the Taurus-Scorpio polarity, Ceres governs the lessons of attachment and aversion, the pathology of loss and rejection, the capacity for grief and sorrow, and the principle of sharing. And as the ruler of Virgo, she addresses the issues of productivity, growth, self-reliance, and work. In the pages that follow, we shall explore these processes in greater detail. In summation, we have observed the depth and complexity of the mythology and psychology of Ceres. So rich is her meaning that she corresponds to 2 earth and 2 water signs of the zodiac. In the chapter on chart delineation, we will examine more precisely how the Great Mother expresses herself in the signs, the houses, and with other planets. So Ceres psychological themes. Principle of unconditional love and acceptance. We show nurturing, caring, concern, self-image, self-worth, self-esteem, love matrix. So we'll be able to see all those with your placement. Pathology of loss. So rejection, abandonment, grief, suffering, anger, attachment and aversion, attempting to maintain sole control over children, possessions, or creations. Principle of sharing and letting go. So themes of transformation is birth, death, and renewal cycles, death and dying, hospice work, single parenting and responsibility, relationships with nature and natural earth energies, growth, productivity, work, and efficient functioning, occult themes, which have to do with death passage and blood mysteries. And then she gives, they give more references to other works, other readings that you can do. Resources on Ceres. So Ceres in the horoscope. This is the stuff that I really want to get to. So the Greeks worshiped Ceres as Earth Mother, as goddess of agriculture who worked unceasingly to bring food and nourishment to the people of the earth. Ceres, tied to her daughter Persephone, was so strong that it constituted her primary relationship. The story of Persephone's abduction by Pluto to become queen of the underworld, Ceres's grief and suffering in her loss, and her search for reunion with her child became a major myth of the ancient world. This drama was enacted regularly for several thousand years as the initiation rites of the Eleusinian mysteries. Ceres' pathology of repeated loss stems from grasping and overattachment. In her relationship as mother, Ceres is the principle of unconditional love, sustaining and nourishing newly created life forms. She functions as matrix womb and umbilical cord, transmitting life-sustaining nourishment. Astrologically, Ceres describes the ways in which we face the issues of self-worth and self-esteem, relationships to our parents and children, attachment, dependency, loss, separation, rejection, grief, sharing, work, and productivity. So you can see why it's so important to actually know the true placement of where that sits in your chart. Ceres in the signs describes 12 styles of nurturing. Ceres shows how we meet our needs to give and receive nurturance, and what we need from ourselves and others to feel unconditionally loved and accepted. I already read through mine, and oh my gosh, it's spot on. Ceres in the houses shows where we most readily experience the need to give and receive nurturing. Ceres also indicates what types of experiences will foster feelings of self-love and self-acceptance, or self-rejection and critical attitudes. Ceres aspects to the planets describe how the nurturing mother functioning may be integrated with other areas of the personality. Harmonious aspects indicate any easy blending, while stressful ones signify potential conflicts between nurturing needs and other psychic requirements of the individual. When the varying needs are mastered and integrated, an individual with conflict aspects in the horoscope no longer needs stress in order to learn balance. So Ceres astrological rulerships. So these are Ceres's mother is an indicator and timer of all phases of procreative sexuality, like pregnancy, birth, miscarriage, abortion, nursing, ovulation, onset of menstruation and menopause, women's gynecological health, and birth control. You can see that this particular placement just shows so much. Ceres is a significator of the various parental relationships, so parent-child, child-parent, single-parent, mother or father, grandparent, foster step, adoptive parent. Now, you get the picture. Ceres is concerned with child care and children's education, so prenatal care, childbirth training, yada, yada, yada. Ceres values the family, so deep family roots and ties, extended family systems, communes, clanship systems, tribes, so ancestral work can be seen here. Ceres vocations center around nurturing and helping professions, so nursing, social services, childcare and education, midwifery, hospices, all make sense. As goddess of the grain, Ceres is involved with agriculture and growing cycles, so cultivation of the land, farming, gardening, ecology, botany, seasons, relation to nature, green thumb, plants, nursery seeds, harvest. I mean, wowza. Ceres is an all-nourishing mother, is an indicator of food and food-related services, like farmers, organic gardeners, cooks, bakers, waiters, waitresses, restaurants, co-ops. You get the picture. Also, overweight, anorexia, bulimia, food-related disorders. And so, wow. Ceres has a nurturing concern and sensitivity for animals, so animal care and domestication, veterinarians, trainers, breeders, caretakers. Ceres as worker is involved in labor and productivity, so labor workers, labor unions, producers, consumers, commodities. You get the picture. Ceres symbolizes the principle of adaptation and survival of the species. So now we're going to get into Ceres in the signs. So I'm going to stop right here just for a second to briefly say, if you don't know what your Ceres sign truly is in, then pop on over. I will be putting a link down below to my amethystascension.com Ko-fi shop, where you can purchase a true sidereal. This is the actual true placement of where the stars actually were, where all the placements actually were on the day that you were born and the time you were born. So it will show where this asteroid truly sits on your chart, okay? And you can get that at my shop. So, Ceres and Aries. People identify nurturance with autonomy and being granted independence. In turn, the Ceres in Aries individual nurtures others through promoting their self-determination and self-sufficiency. To feel truly loved, this person must receive these experiences from his or her significant others. Pathology or imbalance can occur when the child feels either dominated by the nurturer or pushed towards autonomy before he or she is ready to take on this responsibility. Ceres in Taurus, individuals receive nurturance through physical substance, a sense of stability, and being touched and held. In turn, they can nurture others by fostering their physical security and providing for them in tangible ways. So feelings of self-worth and acceptance are derived from learning how to provide materially for themselves. Imbalance results when the individual over-identifies with substance, and feelings of material lack promote excessive hoarding of possessions. So then we've got Ceres in Gemini. Persons receive nurturance through being educated, talked to, and listened to. These people nurture others mentally through communicating knowledge to them. Self-acceptance is based on feeling smart or intellectually competent. Imbalance occurs when feelings of mental inadequacy lead to learning difficulties or to attempts to intellectually impress or verbally manipulate others. Ceres in Cancer. Remember, Ceres is ruler of Cancer. Individuals receive nurturance through bonding with the mother, feeling loved, and being fed. If these needs are met at an early age, these people will excel at caring for others physically and emotionally. Self-acceptance is based on one's ability to express feelings and master emotions. Imbalance occurs when the child is either deprived of nurturance or smothered with love and affection. Excessive neediness or emotional dependency are the resulting psychological afflictions. So Ceres in Leo. People identify nurturance with self-expression. Ideally, the parents will foster in the child a sense of pride, confidence in his or her abilities, and an appreciation for the creative efforts of others. These people can nurture others by helping them to express their creativity, thereby making a unique impression upon the outer world. Self-acceptance is based upon one's ability to create and share something he or she takes pride in. The inability to do so may bring self-rejection and lack of self-confidence. So then we've got Ceres in Virgo, and also rules Virgo. So persons identify nurturance with perfection or with service. Ideally, the mothering experience can foster the child's sense of competence, discrimination, and self-discipline, which gives the ability to extend skills to others. Nurturing is expressed through teaching others to achieve excellence by right application of skills and talents. Feelings of self-worth arise through mastering a skill or technique and expressing it in the work world, or through feeling useful to others. Imbalance often results when the children are constantly criticized for their efforts. No matter how good they were, this can lead to an obsessive need to be perfect and to be critical of the imperfections in others. So Ceres in Libra. Individuals identify nurturing with cooperation. Ideally, the mothering experience fosters a sensitivity to others and a positive attitude towards relationships. Nurturing is expressed through imparting instructions on how to interact, cooperate, and exhibit right conduct in egalitarian relationships. I think I said that right. Self-acceptance may be based upon one's demonstrated ability to create harmony in one's relationships and environment. Imbalances occur when one is so other-directed that he or she places then he or she places being accepted above a need for self-determination. So Ceres in Scorpio, natives identify nurturance with intense and deep emotional bonding. Ideally, the mothering experiences was intimate and fostered a sense of emotional self-control. Nurturance is expressed through emotional commitments to others and through acting as a catalytic agent that transforms or heals them. Self-acceptance may be gained through transforming one's own inner negativity and lack of trust into healing power of love. Imbalance occurs when feelings of isolation are expressed as selfishness, jealousy, envy, anger, and revenge. So I wanted to add this part in because as somebody that practices true sidereal astrology, this particular book that I've been reading out of, the Asteroid Goddesses, does not talk about Ceres or any of the constellations or any of the asteroids in the constellation of Ophiuchus. And I do follow Ophiuchus. And it's not just like my truth, it's a truth of a constellation that's actually in the sky. And so our ancients knew it. It's on the ceiling of Dendara. As a matter of fact, the 13th decan, which would show Ophiuchus, is like the only square on the ceiling of Dendara that isn't cleaned. Isn't that interesting? So I wanted to talk about a little bit about Ophiuchus and what it says in this book, The Box of Stars, about Ophiuchus, called Serpentarius, but also now called Ophiuchus. Between the wild archer Sagittarius and Bootes, the keeper of the bears Serpentarius, now known as Ophiuchus, wrestles with the serpent. With his foot on the heart of the scorpion, he defeated. So scorpion is here with his foot on it. Serpentarius is the Greek god of medicine, Asclepius, who learned the healing arts from the noble centaur Chiron in the forest glades of Greece, holding the serpent, which remains the symbol of Western medicine to this day. After fasting and bathing, the sick and disturbed would spend the night in special dream incubation chambers in his temples, the god appearing to them in vivid dreams, diagnosed disease and offered cures, and the grateful recipients of his wisdom would then throw golden coins into his sacred fountains. His daughters were Hygeia, health, and Panacea, cure. Rescued at birth from his mother's funeral pyre by his father, Apollo, who gave him to the centaur Chiron to bring up, Asclepius soon learned from him the secrets of all medicines and herbs. With the help of some of the Gorgon's blood given to him by Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and an unnamed plant whose properties were revealed to him by a serpent, he even succeeded in resurrecting the dead. He tried to save Orion, the great hunter, from his death from a scorpion sting, but the king of the underworld was angry that the laws of destiny and of nature were being broken. And so, to pacify him, Zeus killed Asclepius with a thunderbolt and placed him in the skies. The snake is a homeopathic symbol of the poison which can both kill and cure, and because the creature shed its skin, it represents rebirth. Here, Asclepius wrestles with it and controls it, transforming its poison and evil into wisdom and healing. Part of Serpentarius lies between Scorpio, or Scorpius, and Sagittarius, and so is thought by some modern astrologers to be the 13th zodiac sign. The main star in this constellation, known as Ophiuchus, From the Greek opus, serpent is called Ra Alehago, or Alehag, head of the serpent charmer. Far more famous is Bernard's star, a red dwarf not visible to the naked eye, and the fourth closest to our sun. It is thought to have planets around it, which could be the home of life, and appears to us to be the fastest moving star in space. Serpents have now been divided into serpent's caput, the serpent's head, and serpent's cauda, the serpent's tail. In keeping with this particular thing, because I believe that Ophiuchus is also about, like, if Asclepius is the son of Apollo, and Apollo also had the gift of prophecy. And I read some other stuff on Wikipedia about Ophiuchus, and also a couple other articles about Ophiuchus showing that the earliest, and see, there's not a whole lot known about this particular, like, person, because it's like the only constellation that actually depicts an actual person, which was Asclepius. However, they also have, like, what did it say? Like, maybe 8,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago as the earliest that they have record of. I believe that the man had, he had an upright body, like a human body, but his bottom half, waist down, was serpent, which also makes me think of the Nagi, or the Naga people that are in, like, the Vimanas and the, they talk about them, I believe, in the Bhagavad Gita, or the, I don't know all the names of those, like, Sanskrit tomes and stuff. But anyways, so for me, it really makes me feel like, also because of being known as putting people in, like, dream incubation stasises in order to help heal them, he was a spiritual and physical healer. But so even his element to me would be very like a mixture of ether or spirit and water for healing, right? Life. So that's what Ophiuchus feels like to me. Healer, psychic stuff, life and death, reincarnation, past life stuff, past life recall, like all of that kind of stuff. So if you mix that in with Ceres, or I mean with being in Ceres, which is about, like, how we feel like nurture and stuff like that, I would think that these people feel nurtured when they are in healing relationships, and or their ability to heal others, and or somebody that is in a relationship with them that heals them, and or somebody that believes them, has faith in their psychic abilities, and or they also nurture other people with their psychic abilities. So that's what I see for Ceres in Ophiuchus. I would love to know your thoughts on that, though. So Ceres in Sagittarius. People identify nurturance with the freedom to explore and expand their horizons. Ideally, the mothering experience encouraged and fostered these needs. Nurturing is expressed through teaching others how to expand their mental and physical horizons. The guru or spiritual, or example is the guru or spiritual teacher. In addition, the Ceres in Sagittarius individual may help others to develop a philosophy or belief system that gives meaning to their lives. Self-acceptance may be based on the ability to find purpose in one's life and constantly move forward in consciousness. The failure to do so may lead to the belief that life is meaningless and purposeless. Feelings of aimlessness that cause the person to wander without direction may result. So then we've got Ceres and Capricorn. Individuals identify nurturance with achievement. Ideally, the mothering experience taught the child how to be responsible, organize his or her time, and to carry out plans that would lead to the accomplishment of specific goals. I'm sorry if you can hear all the wind. 1 second. Okay, let's see, where was I? Nurturing others takes the form of teaching them to be responsible for themselves, as well as giving them practical tools that they can use to succeed in the outer world. Self-acceptance is derived from tangible accomplishments that the individual attains through his or her own efforts. Imbalances occur when the person equates feeling love with how well he or she performs in the world. This leads to the syndrome of using outer achievements to impress others in order to gain their recognition. Okay, so Ceres in Aquarius, persons identifying nurturing with individuality. Ideally, the mothering experience fostered self-determination and a recognition of the rights of others. Nurturing is expressed through teaching others to accept their eccentricities and themselves, even if they follow the beat of a different drummer. Self-acceptance can be gained through following one's own original and unique path. Imbalances may occur if the child was not given limits and guidelines and therefore received more freedom than he or she was prepared to cope with. This would manifest as the rebel without a cause, the individual who needs to gain inner control and self-discipline so that he or she can handle the responsibilities of freedom. And then Ceres and Pisces, and this one's mine. My Ceres is in Pisces. People identify nurturing with compassion. Such a person receives nurturance through feeling connected to and unified with the reality beyond him or herself. Nurturance is expressed through alleviating the suffering of others, either through empathy or inspiring in them the qualities of faith, universal love, and recognition of a transcendent reality. Self-acceptance may be based upon the ability to serve others selflessly without expecting anything in return. Imbalances occur when the individual does not receive the proper reassurance and emotional support as a child. This often leads to feelings of helplessness and powerlessness, which in turn promote the victim-martyr syndrome. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is Ceres in the different houses. So Ceres in the first house implies the projection of one's personality as nurturing, sympathetic, and concerned for others. One may identify one's role as being a parent or provider. It may be necessary for this person to nurture themselves. Ceres in the second house represents an urge to nurture by providing fundamental needs, shelter, food, and money for loved ones. There can also be an obsessive attachment to what or whom one loves, creating struggle for independence on the other end. Nurturing oneself may take the form of buying things, indulging, or pampering oneself. So, Ceres in the third house suggests nurturing through feeding ideas, teaching, and exposure to a variety of ideas and stimuli. Nurturing is expressed through creating networks that link together one's friends and associates. So Ceres in the fourth house can signify an idealized image of mother nurturing in the home and family. One's role as a parent is the foundation of the chart and life. In a universal sign, this may manifest as mother to the world or whoever comes into the home. When Ceres is near the IC, the Imam Kawali, which is right around the third house, fourth house. The mythos of Ceres is especially predominant as a psychological foundation, an emotional connection with the themes of loss and return of loved ones, or of rejection and acceptance. So Ceres in the 5th house denotes the experiencing of nurturing issues through a strong involvement with children or the creative arts. So one is nourished through play or through putting oneself in risky situations. So Ceres in the 6th house symbolizes fulfilling one's needs through engaging in the day-to-day activities of maintaining the efficient functionality of one's family. There is a strong service aspect here, especially in the areas of nutrition and health. A parent who works or has values of the work ethic is also symbolized by this position. So Ceres in the 7th house points to a need to nurture or be nurtured and protected by their mate. One's parent is often a role model for one's relationship needs. There is sometimes difficulty in outgrowing a dependent relationship with one's partner. Unconditional love provides an essential foundation for egalitarian functioning. So Ceres in the 8th house indicates receiving nurturing through intense peak experiences and through deep emotional involvements. Sexuality is often an essential component in giving and receiving nurturance. Nurturance may also be expressed through assisting the dying in hospice settings. So perhaps even could show like a death doula. Or somebody, yes, that works in hospice or nursing homes or something like that. You know, the life and death. So Ceres in the 9th house suggests nurturing oneself and others through the pursuit of knowledge, freedom, truth, and travel. There can emerge the development of philosophies that address the question of providing for fundamental family or human needs. Example is Marxism. This placement can also denote philosophies that are based upon the worship of the all-nurturing mother, such as those that revere the Virgin Mary or other goddesses. So Ceres in the 10th house, and this is my placement. Ceres in the 10th house connotates expressing the nurturing urge by caring and providing for others through one's profession or social destiny. Careers and public work in children's services, healthcare, and food-related businesses can fulfill one's sense of social responsibility. This position of Ceres may indicate that love is given conditionally based upon the performance or achievement of the child. When, however, the child fails to live up to parental or societal expectations, he or she may feel either rejected or abandoned. Hence, many individuals with Ceres in the 10th house must learn to love themselves for what they are, not what they do. Man, does that ring true? Yeah. For me, definitely. Ceres in the 11th house symbolizes extending the nurturing urge into the collective, extended families, mother support, groups, child care, co-ops, and communes. This position can also show giving birth to humanitarian visions and ideals. One may express or receive mothering through one's friendships. And Ceres in the 12th house denotes karmic themes in the responsibilities of parenthood and in the development of empathy and understanding for the suffering of others. This position may symbolize experiences such as loss, illness, rejection, and denial of one's parents or children. The key to relieving one's own grief is to extend love and assistance to those in pain or need. This position of Ceres denotes the potential for nurturing the entire universe and connection to a higher reality through unconditional love. And then we also go into more detail on the different aspects of the planets. So we've got the Ceres Sun aspect, we've got the Ceres Moon aspects, Ceres Mercury, Ceres Venus. So these are like conjunctions and squares and what all that means. And even with the other Okay, yes, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Pluto, yup. Okay. So for me, as I said, mine happened to be, my Ceres is in my 10th house in Pisces. Right here. So, right here. 38 degrees into Pisces in my 10th house. Oopsie. So, when it talks in the book about the aspecting, these particular charts that I run also have all your aspecting. So I show my Ceres right here with the square to my sun. So I'm squared off with the sun. I have a, what is it called? A quintex or something like that. Which is also like conflict between my moon and my Ceres. And I have a trine between Mercury and Ceres. And then I have another quintex or whatever, and a quintex with Pluto and with Mars. So, wow. And that's where it sits. So, the next one I'm going to be talking about is Athena. And where that sits in your chart. This is what it looks like. Palace is what it's called, but it's actually Athena. And mine happens to be boop, 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 in my 8th house in Aquarius. Interesting, interesting. So, and it talks about whether or not you have like, so if mine was in a conjunction with something else, other than like the aspect, you know, squaring it off or whatever, if it was in conjunction and, you know, like working with other planets, you could have conjunction with other planets or other asteroids, what have you. It's very interesting, isn't it? So like I said, next video is going to be on Pallas, or Athena. Then the other one is going to be Juno, which is Hera, and also Vesta, which is the eternal flame. I'm also going to be touching base with Black Moon Lilith again, the North Node, South Node, all of the above. If there's something in particular that you want to see on my channel, please just leave me a comment down below. Let me know. I hope you find this interesting. And if you would like to get your actual chart with the actual true placements of what was really in the sky when you were born, then head on over to my amethystascension.com Ko-fi shop and order yourself one of these birth charts. Okay? So thank you for spending this time with me. I'm sending you love always.